Hello and welcome to my meditation. My name is Debra Baker and I am grateful that you have joined us for this little while. We are about to go on an adventure. So this is my first book, Amazing Intuition, Expanding Your Most Important Resource. And eventually I'd like to get it into an audiobook, but I haven't gone down that road yet. But I realized today, as I'm getting ready to sign the contract for my second book, that I would like to do a series of meditations around the principles in this book. So a lot of you have read it, and I'm so grateful for that. And for those of you who haven't, this will give you just an introduction into some of the principles. They're very practical, down to earth. I've intended for the book to be kind of light reading, nothing heavy or morose, just kind of a fun trip into your own intuition. And an adventure in you finding what you've always had. So let's get started. Let's begin with our 3 nice, really deep breaths. Breathing into your chest, holding it for a moment, feel the skin of your chest expand a little, and then releasing. And then breathing into your chest and your upper back. So feel your whole rib cage just expand a little. Hold it for a moment. And then breathe it out really slowly. And now take the deepest breath you've taken all day, breathing into your chest, your rib cage, and your belly. Feel it all expand. Take another sip of air maybe, and just hold it for a moment. And then release it when you're ready, very slowly. Now let's relax our bodies. We'll kind of do the quick way today, by pressing our feet and our knees and our legs together, and just kind of tighten up all the muscles of your legs, like pull them up to your bones, maybe either curl your toes under or curl them backwards, and just squeeze everything from your tailbone all the way to your toes. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze for a moment, and then let them go. And notice your blood flow enhances a little when you do that, in your legs and your feet. And now let's do the lower part of our torso, the pelvis. So draw up your pelvic floor, pull in your hips, pull in your lower back, tighten up your glutes, tighten your lower abs, and just kind of give your whole pelvis a hug. Just squeeze it in for a breath cycle. Squeeze, 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 and then let it go. That feels so good. And now let's do the upper torso. So your midsection, your tummy, your gut, and your rib cage. So just do that for a moment. Pull your gut, all your abdominal muscles in from the front. Kind of hug your rib cage in, and pull your back muscles in. And take a breath and hold it. Squeeze, 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 and then let it go. Now let's do the second part of that. I invite you to pull your hands up, put your hands on your shoulders or close to your shoulders. So tuck your arms into your sides, and then pull your shoulder blades back. And if you're lying down, just do it as best you can, or just push into the bed or the couch. And so squeeze your arms and your hands, squeeze them to themselves and to your sides, and then pull your shoulder blades together for a breath cycle. Squeeze, 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 and then let go. That feels so good. And now pull your shoulders up to your ears, tuck your chin gently, pull all of your facial muscles to your skull, squeeze all your muscles all around your head, squeeze your neck with your shoulders for a breath cycle. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And then let it go. Just feel your shoulders sink down. Your neck grows a little longer with that. It feels so good. And so now let's just relax. Just feel our bodies just relaxing. So in the first chapter of the book, I talk about the things, the obstacles. Sometimes we throw up all of the obstacles of why we can't do it before we even do it. And so let's look at that. And I think the biggest obstacle for expanding your intuition, finding out what you know, giving yourself permission to know what you already do, is fear. And it's interesting. I've been observing my oldest granddaughter, who's here most weekends, and she says to me last night, "So, are there spirits in the room?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure there are." "Do you see them?" "Well, I could see them if I wanted, but I'm busy making a pie." And so she goes in to the other room. She comes back and she says, "There was an old lady sitting there. She looked kind of like you. She described my great aunt to a T. I found a picture of her and I showed it to her, and she goes, 'Yep, that was her.'" And I know that my granddaughter did this process of releasing her fear. As soon as she got okay with the idea that there could be a spirit around, or with your intuition, being okay with the idea that you know more than you think you do, or you can know when the time's right. So let's just take a moment and breathe into that fear, whatever it is. You don't have to name it or claim it or anything. Just be aware that there might be some fear there, and just take a deep breath into it. And just let it out. Let the breath out. And now let's ask our higher power, God, the one presence, the one power, whatever it is, your infinite soul, your higher self. Let's ask, humbly ask, to be relieved of that fear. If there is fear that I'm holding, that I don't need, that's standing in the way of my greater good, I ask for it to be released now. Let's just breathe in and out on that idea. I ask for my fear to be released now. I release my fear now. I release the fear that no longer serves me. Sometimes we're not even aware that we have fear. And I had to go through the process of releasing my fear before I could allow myself to do this work, because I was raised in an environment that was fearful of it. I have lost some dear friends because their fear of it overcame them, and they were afraid even to be associated with me because of being afraid of the supernatural. And so let's relax into our infinite selves for a moment. Relax into your infinite self, your soul. Relax into your soul. And let your soul tell you what you need to know. And that's definitely a subject for another meditation. But for right now, your soul can tell you that there is more information available to you. And you can release your fear, or maybe it's doubt. Maybe you doubt that it's there. Oh, I've never had any psychic experiences before. Well, maybe not, but that doesn't mean you won't have one. And sometimes we deny it. We can't look. We refuse to own up to what we know until it's useful for us. And I don't mean that in a condescending or a negative way, but I became aware one time, and I was still in college, so it was before I started doing this work, but I became aware that my car had been broken into. And, I didn't know it till the end of the night. And really, it may as well have been then, because I'm sure that my purse was stolen from my car at the beginning of the night, and we still had a lovely time. And if I had realized it earlier, it wouldn't have been, it would have ruined the whole night. And so my guides, my higher self let me know when it was useful. And it was useful because as soon as I got back to the car, I could see that the trunk had been popped, and I was expecting it, which was just helpful. And so sometimes having that information, it comes when we need it. I could go on and on about that, but let me assure you that you do have an intuition, a deep, profound intuition, and that it can help you, and it will show up when you need it. And so when you doubt, I suggest you ask your higher self to release that doubt. Doubt then is tied to unworthiness. And we've talked about this many times. You are worthy of the infinite. You are worthy of whatever your heart desires, because where does that desire come from? It comes from God. It comes from your connection with all that is. So I invite you to think about what you want, knowing that you deserve it, that desire comes from God. It comes from your higher self. It comes from your soul. Your soul has things that it wants for you. Your soul is, where your purpose for this life, and I don't like to use that word, but what your intentions for this life were, what you came here to experience, all of that lies in your soul. And our intuition is often the key to what our soul wants us to know. And so let's make an agreement over these next several weeks of kind of working through the principles of amazing intuition, your amazing intuition, that we give ourselves permission to do this process, to allow ourselves to know things that we may not know, may not realize we know. It's like my granddaughter last night when she said, "Do you have spirits in the house?" Well, yeah. I've come to know that over the years, and you do too, and don't be afraid of this, but know that all of your loved ones who have passed away, and you may not have even known them, they love you and they're around you. I had a great uncle who was a priest, and he came to me while I was driving. I may have already told the story. He came to me while I was driving one time, and I could tell because I smelled his cigar smoke just so strongly in my car. And I knew it was he, and I asked him, did he have a message for me? Because sometimes they just show up to let you know they're there. I love you, I'm watching out for you, we're going to hang out a little while together. But he said, "You're onto something. Keep going." And I feel like that was his way of encouraging me to write this next book and to keep doing my work. And it's fascinating for a Catholic priest to give me that vote of confidence and that encouragement. So sometimes they show up unexpectedly, like he did, and sometimes they show up when invited. And I suggest that you, if you have a loved one who has passed away, that you invite them to come visit, just to spend time with you, just to give you guidance maybe, or reassurance, or love, peace, calm. It is my heart's desire that each person on this planet connect with their infinite selves in such a way that this planet is teeming with spiritual energy. That every one of us is able to show up as our infinite selves more and more. And that doesn't mean being a meditative, monk in a monastery somewhere. It means whatever your soul came here to experience. And sometimes we come here to experience kind of the opposite of what we want, to show us this is not what I want. And I was having a conversation with someone I knew from childhood, and I said, my mother made a great cautionary tale, because there were so many ways that her parenting hurt me, and I was so determined, probably more so than maybe would be normal, never to hurt my children, or to try not to hurt them, certainly not by my parenting techniques. And so your intention may be to just be more relaxed in your life. Bravo. Your infinite self will show you how to do that. It will show you what to let go of, your doubt, your fear, your sense of unworthiness. It will show you what might be standing in your way. I got a gentle reminder from my infinite self today that to turn all social media off, in the evening, and give myself just a couple of hours of quiet time, which I was in the practice of doing for a while, but it's easier at the end of the day to just turn on, some Netflix show and let it, or, some show I watched years ago, and just, let my mind be numb. But what's even better is turning the show off and letting my mind be peaceful. And so I'm going to do that. So let's let go of whatever may be standing in our way, of knowing what it is we need to know when we need to know it. And also to release any disbelief or doubt that we have intuition. Of course you have intuition. If you study the evolution of the human being, they talk about language. And my intuition about the evolution of the human is that when we first got here on this planet, when we started inhabiting planet Earth, we didn't need language because we communicated intuitively, telepathically. So we didn't need language because we read one another's thoughts all the time, which really creates a level of honesty, because you can't be dishonest if people are reading your thoughts. And also a level of safety, because you couldn't be anything but your authentic self. And so now we have language, and we get to choose what we communicate with one another. And so my choice is to communicate with you unconditional love and acceptance, to communicate that You have way more than you think you do. You are way more than you think you are. You are a cherished, precious, brilliant, loving, kind, wonderful being. And all those ideas that aren't in alignment with that are human ideas, probably grown out of wounds that happened to us when we were children, or at any time. I know lots of adults who are traumatized as adults, and those things create wounds where if this terrible thing could happen to me, then I must not be worthy, which is a childish thought. We know that we're worthy. We know that stuff happens. And we also know that our infinite souls chose the big events and sometimes the small events in our lives, because that's what we came here to experience. So let's embrace it all. So here it is, Amazing Intuition, expanding your most important resource. If you would like to get a copy, I know a lot of you already have one, and I'm so grateful for that. But if you'd like to get a copy, it's on Amazon. You can also get it from me. It's on Apple Books. It's on Target Books. Basically, if you want to find it, you'll find it. It's Amazing Intuition. And my maiden name is Busmeyer, so it's Debra Busmeyer Baker. So thank you so much for joining me, and let me remind you one more time that you are whole and perfect exactly as you are, in the one presence and the one power, moving in, through, and as me honors and recognizes the one presence and the one power moving in, through, and as you. Namaste. Have a wonderful week.